My name is Marcus Hale. I'm 38 years old. I work in risk consulting. Basically, I read the fine print most people ignore. I drive a secondhand Ford Edge I rebuilt piece by piece on weekends. I've got two kids, Owen, who's 11, and Lila, who's 8. Shared custody. Thursdays and every other weekend are ours, and I don't miss those days. Not once. On paper, I look stable, good job, clean apartment, kids who are fed, laughing, and doing okay. But there's another version of me, the one that's been running on empty for nearly 2 decades, the one who learned early that the easiest way to survive his family was to be useful and never inconvenient. That version of me ended on a cold Saturday night in early November inside a polished restaurant called Alder and Vine. I grew up the oldest of two. My sister Kayla is younger by 4 years, charismatic, loud, effortlessly charming, the kind of person who always seems to land on her feet, even when she shouldn't. She's married to Drew, a man who smiles like life has never handed him a bill. My parents, Richard and Elaine, raised us in a house where love came with strings. Dad was loud, funny, and allergic to accountability. Mom kept the peace by shifting blame like furniture, quietly, efficiently, always away from the real problem. If Kayla made a mistake, something else was at fault. If I struggled, I just needed to try harder. So I did. At 17, I picked Kayla up from a party she wasn't supposed to be at. At 22, I wired my dad money when his card stopped working overseas. At 25, I handled my parents' home insurance claim after a flood. At 29, I co-signed a credit card I'm still tied to. At 33, I paid off their overdue property taxes after a late-night call from Mom, crying. And Kayla, her requests started small, a couple hundred here, a quick transfer there, emergency daycare, car repairs, rent gaps. Over time, it stacked into thousands. Quietly, consistently. My ex-wife, Lauren, used to say, "You treat your family like clients you're scared to lose." She wasn't wrong. We didn't break apart in a dramatic explosion. We faded, slowly, because I was always available for everyone, except her. 2 years ago, we divorced. Clean on paper, shared custody, respectful distance, still a team for the kids. My family called it my failure. Then, without blinking, they praised me for stepping up financially for my children. The night before my dad's 64th birthday, Mom called in that soft, rehearsed tone. "We're going to Alder and Vine," she said. "Nothing big, just dinner. Keep it simple." I already knew what that meant. I said yes anyway. Lauren texted me later. "Fancy place?" "Yeah." "Then practice boundaries tonight." I stared at that word for a long time. At the restaurant, we sat at a curved booth. Me, the kids, Lauren, my parents, Kayla, and Drew. Dad ordered wine before anyone even opened a menu. "Get whatever you want," he said. I started doing the math in my head. "I always do." Lila leaned into me. "Can I get the ribbon pasta?" "Let me check the price first," I said softly. Kayla didn't even glance at hers. She flagged the waiter immediately. Expensive dishes, extras, dessert box to go. When the food arrived, 2 neatly wrapped takeaway boxes sat beside her. Lila looked at them, eyes wide. "Are those for us later?" Kayla smiled casually. "No, sweetie. Those are for my boys at home." Her kids weren't even there. Owen stared down at his glass, old enough to understand, young enough to feel it deeply. Then Dad tossed 2 cloth napkins across the table toward my kids. "You two can eat when you get home," he joked. "No need to waste money here." Drew laughed. Something inside me stopped, not snapped, not exploded, just settled. The waiter came back. "Anything else?" I stood up. "Can we split the bill by household?" I asked calmly. "One for my parents, one for Kayla and Drew, and one for me." The table went still. "Don't start," Dad muttered. "Just sit down," Kayla added. "Don't be dramatic," Drew said. "I'm not being dramatic," I replied. "I'm being clear." Lauren didn't speak. She just reached over and held Lila's hand. I'm not being dramatic, I replied. I'm being clear. Lauren didn't speak. She just reached over and held Lila's hand. That was enough. I ordered 2 simple pastas for my kids. Dad leaned forward, voice low. You're embarrassing us. My kids aren't embarrassed, I said, and that's what matters. Kayla pushed the bill toward me. Just pay it and we'll sort it later. I didn't touch it. No. One word, solid, final. I've covered enough, I said quietly. I've co-signed, transferred, bailed out, and cleaned up. I'm done being the backup plan. The kids' food arrived, simple, warm, real. Lila smiled like it was the best thing she'd ever seen. Thanks, Dad, Owen said quietly. That stayed with me. When the check came, mine was under $90. Dad slid his toward me. Last chance. No. We stood up, jackets on, hands held. You're walking out? Mom said. I'm walking out with my kids. Outside, the air was sharp and clean. Are we in trouble? Lila asked. No, I said, buckling her in. We just turned a page. The next morning, my phone exploded. Calls, messages, accusations. I made pancakes. We ate in pajamas at a table that finally felt peaceful. When Mom called, I answered. You humiliated your father. I split a bill. He wants an apology. He's not getting one. Silence. Then the familiar line. Your sister's struggling. I listened. Then I said no. And I meant it. Over the next few weeks, I untangled everything. Canceled shared accounts, removed cards, closed the family emergency fund. It had almost nothing left in it anyway. Calls came in, requests, pressure. I declined them all. One night, Dad showed up at my door. I didn't answer. For the first time in years, I slept peacefully. A couple weeks later, my grandmother called. You did the right thing, she said. How do you know? Because everyone else called me first. I laughed, really laughed. Your grandfather said no once, she added. Best decision he ever made. She was right. Now my kids feel it too. The calm, the safety, the difference. This isn't about revenge. It's about clarity. I don't hate my family. I just stopped letting them treat me like a resource instead of a person. Because love isn't paying for a table where your children are told to wait. Love is making sure they never have to. And sometimes the strongest thing you can say is just one word. No.